Hi, we're live. I'm live on Instagram. Oh, let me get my, that way we don't get an echo here. If you guys can hear me real loud and clear and real crisp, let me know. Give me some hearts or a thumbs up. Let me know if you can hear me. Let's get rid of this ad. Okay, I'm one of those people that listens to nothing but streaming music, and I never pay to remove the ads. I'm just like, I'll go to the restroom. I'll come back. I'll come back. Like I don't need to pay extra to get rid of the ads. But then like, man, them ads be messing with you, right? Okay, so everything sounds good. Samita, girl, I'm waiting to see some pictures. Okay. I'm waiting to see some pictures of the vacays and of the foods. I'm a foodie, so okay. So we are live here. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitter. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm very excited. For those of you guys who do not know me, let me go ahead and start there. For those of you guys who do not know me, let me go ahead and introduce myself. So, my name is Selina Almodovar. I'm a Christian relationship author and coach, and I teach Christian women how to take faith filled steps to trust God fully when it comes to transforming their love life and getting and creating the relationship that they have always been praying for. Okay, so that is what I do. That's why we're here today. As you guys may or may not know, if you've been following me for some time, if not, I want to bring to you the reason why we are celebrating. And I'm just on a whole different vibe right now is because I am promoting my newest book, which is Christian Dating Adventures, a couples guide, which is pre-ordered, available now for you guys. You can check the link in my bio. For those of you guys who are watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, I'm going to go ahead and give you a link right there. You can see that. And today I want to just talk to you guys about a topic that a lot of people come into contact with when it comes to dates. Since I am promoting this dating book, which is 65 fun, creative dates to connect and grow, I want to share with you guys every single challenge, every single struggle, every single thing that just irks you and just annoys you when it comes to the concept of dates. All right. I want to talk to you about that between this week, well, basically all month long, but I was sick last week and then some things happened the week before. You know, all week long, or all month long, I want to talk to you about these topics because in promoting this book, this dating book, it's my goal. It's my mission right now in this season. This is my assignment in this season is to get you to love dates again. Is to get you to go on dates again. But not just any dates, not just a dinner and a movie, not just Netflix and chill, but go on dates that are intentional, go on dates that are purposeful, and go on dates that are going to help you like really grow with the person that you're actually on a date with. And then also let's include God and keep him at the center, because a lot of people are Christians and a lot of people date, but we don't know how to connect the two. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how to bridge the two worlds together other than you're a Christian, I'm a Christian. Good. That's great. Like, how can we bridge it all together and get God in the center? This book shares that. And I want to go ahead and go deeper into some of these topics, kids being one of them, and help you get through that fear or that annoyance or that anxiety when it comes to having kids and trying to go on dates. Let me go ahead and switch out my screen here for those of you guys who are on Instagram. Here we go. All right. So feel free, if you guys are feeling what I'm feeling, if we're vibing here, feel free to give me thumbs up, interact with the questions or with the comments, send me some hearts. Good girls love hearts. I love seeing some good hearts. It lets me know that I'm talking to you guys and you guys are picking up what I'm dropping. You know what I'm saying? So let me hear it. Go ahead and do that. So out of a show of hands, I want this to be interactive. So out of a show of hands, how many of you guys have kids out there? And if you have kids, how old are they? How many do you have and how old are your kids? Because dates and kids at different stages, at different ages, it's all something, you know what I mean? And it also depends on if you're married with kids or if you're a single mom or a single dad with kids. You know, it matters if you have one kid or multiples of kids. It matters if your kids are grown and got attitudes and got stuff to say versus a baby who just has a separation anxiety. You know what I mean? So, out of a show of hands, while you guys are kind of filtering in and you guys are getting cozy, just tell me how many kids you have. How old are your kids? Okay. And let me go over here to the section. Let me see. I got some people coming on. Hey, girl. Hey. Jasmine. Hey, girl. Hey. All right. So I got 8 and 6. Okay. I have an almost 20-month-old son. Okay. So we got a baby. We got some pre-tween. What are they? Tweens? They're not tweens, right? Yeah, right. We got to wait till they're 10, 11, 12 to their tween age. All right. Congratulations to all the mamas out there. I myself am a proud parent. Proud parent. Yes. Ages 5 and 3 and 7 months. Now, when I tell you that I'm happy, kids make me happy, right? This is my happy kid face, right? In public. Haha. this is this is it, right? But when it comes to like being a woman who wants to go on a date to just have fun as a woman, or who wants to like get to know somebody a little better, for my husband and I, we just want some us time. Yeah, them kids. Yeah, that's a challenge, right? It's a challenge. It kind of gets to you. And sometimes it gets to the point where some people really feel discouraged. People feel discouraged because they're like, it is impossible for me to go on a date when I have kids in the stage that they're in right now. Right. So that's one of the issues that we have. I'm going to start throwing out reasons why kids could be an issue when it comes to dating. If you have a reason, and I'm not talking, if I didn't point out your reason yet, then go ahead and drop it in the chat box too. Okay. Go ahead and drop in the chat box too. I have three kids. One is 6, one is 4, and one is 19 months. Girl, we are like on the same wavelength at this point. So yes, I feel that. So some of the things that could be a challenge for kids. And if you know somebody who's on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or something like that, if you know somebody who has kids and they are always like, oh, dating is so hard, I can't do it, share this message with them, share this video with them, call them out, tag them, go in their DMs and say, hey, hop onto this live. Let's get you on here, because they might get fed too. They might get some encouragement. They might get inspiration from this too. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead in the meantime, while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and share some of the problems that I have experienced myself and that I have experienced from clients of mine who have shared with me as to why it's almost near impossible, quotation marks, almost near impossible for people to have kids and date at the same time. So number one, it's like Family Feud, right? Number one. If you like this answer, I want you to clap like Family Feud, and I want you to say good answer, okay? Number one, we ain't got no sitter. Ooh, we ain't got no sitter. We have no sitter. Nobody wants to watch my kids. Nobody wanted to watch the one child, let alone the two child. And now that we have 3, forget it. They can't put the kids down. They can't put the kids down to sleep. It's going to be a mess. It's going to take us a whole week to recover. There is no sitter to watch our kids to go to a date. So is that a problem for you? Has anybody ever gone through that? I myself, like, it is just one of my biggest strains. I'm like, we can't go on a date. We don't have a sitter. How are we going to do this? How we going to take the kids on the date with us? They're going to eat the shrimp too. They're going to eat the shrimp and the spaghetti. Is that what we're doing? In the last live that I had, I kept using Red Lobster as the example date place. So I'm just going to keep that there. I'm just going to keep saying we can't go to Red Lobster, so we don't have a sitter. That's like one of the things. Okay. And the other thing is like if it is a sitter, you can't afford it. You can't afford to go on a date and a sitter at the same time. Like, God bless the family members and the best friends who will pick up those sitting charges and just not waive the charges for you guys, because those people, you need to make sure that they are included at every holiday table, and you remember their birthday every single year, because not everybody in the world has that opportunity. Not everybody has that tribe that is around them that can support them in just going on a date for a couple of hours, right? So the cost of having a sitter. I remember in the last live I did, if you weren't there, the last live, which was Factor Myth Dating is Expensive. If you did not catch that live, then go back and check out the replay. You could find it on my Facebook. You could find it on Instagram. You can find it on YouTube as well. So go back and check that out. But the cost of an average date was about $100. Okay. That wasn't even costing the sitter services. Now let's think about this. A sitter services, if you're lucky, you could get a sitter for $12 an hour. But if it's like 2 or more kids, you're going to look at least $15 and up. So $15 and up times, an hour of travel, right? Times the hour of the dinner, times, this is a General Red Lobster movie dinner, by the way, times mini golf or going to the movies. That's at least 2.5 hours now, because ever since Lord of the Rings came out, all of the movies have to be at least 3 hours. So 2.5 to 3.5 hours long, right? So that's what, we're looking at 5 hours. Just off the top of my head, 5, maybe 6 hours. 6 hours. Okay, let me pull out my calculator, because I'm not a math person. I'm a relationship coach, right? So 6 hours times $15 an hour. That's $90 just for a sitter. Just for a sitter. Okay, so that's hard for a married couple who want to get together, or for a person who wants to get to know someone for the first time. Say you just met someone, or you guys are early in your stage of relationship, you're in the early phases, and you want to go out, and this guy is like, I want to provide the date, I want to do that, and you're like, yeah, okay, that's cool, but can you drop the $100 for the sitter as well? It starts to get costly. And so instead of us focusing on what we can do in a date, we start to focus on the things that keep us from having a date in the first place. And so therefore we don't even go on a date. Forget it. Forget it. The kids cost too much, right? So that's one of the answers. That's one of the struggles, right? I have a date every 4 or 5 months because of this issue, right? It's people think that that's what it comes to. The other thing is, clap if you think this is a good answer. Clap it out. Family Feud. Good answer. Good answer. Let me know. You cannot have a fun time without your kids, because you start to feel guilty. Like, oh, I should be doing this with my kids. Or, oh, I told my kids I was going to do this with them next week, and I can't do it twice in the same month. And so I'm going to have to bring the kids with me. Or I'm going to share this date because I know that they would have a good time too. And so therefore, we're just going to make it a group thing. And that's how it's going to work. But you that's cool if you do that like one time. That's cool if you do it like 2 times. But if you do it every time, like, oh, the kids will have a great time. Like you just can't detach yourself from having fun without your kids. And so you think like, oh, my kids are going to miss out because I'm doing this really, really fun thing. And then I'm going to hear about it and they're going to complain and I'm going to feel guilty. And I don't, you know what I'm saying? And so you feel like you feel like you have this obligation to share this fun, good, exciting experience with your children, right? Because how often do you do fun things with them? And so now you're leaving them behind. Or the guilt trip really is if you're like a mom who works and then you have small children, and so they constantly have to go to a daycare, or they go to a sitter or whatever, and now you're going on a date. Oh, heaven forbid you're putting them with someone else again, and now you're going to go on a date and enjoy yourself. Like you just picked these kids up and now you're going to drop them back off. Like, really, who are you? You're just going to leave them again? Like the guilt and the struggle is real, right? And it's crazy. It's crazy because now all of a sudden you feel like, I can't have a good time without my kids because I'm going to feel this way, or what if your kids are a little bit older and you're like, oh, I can't post anything on Facebook because then they're going to see what I'm doing. They're going to be all up in my business. Then they're going to have questions. Then they're going to be nosy. Then they're going to wonder what happened. And then they're going to feel some kind of way about it. You know what I mean? Like you're starting to feel all this conflict going on about you going on dates. And now you're like, oh, shh. I can't share no pictures on social media because now my kids are going to see it, and now they're going to comment, they're going to feel some kind of way about it. You start to have this mentality that you can't have fun on a date because your kids are going to feel something, right? So if that's something that you have gone through or have experienced or have felt as a challenge when it comes to dating and having kids, go ahead and clap it out. Go ahead, give me some hearts. Let me know. Let me know where you guys are at, okay? And if there's a challenge that you're feeling that I'm not listing, I want you to put it in the comments. Let me know. Like let's hash out all these challenges, all right? What's up, Diti? Welcome, welcome. All right. So the last thing that I think is a really big challenge when it comes to going on dates, when it comes to having kids, is the lack of time. The lack of time. It's like time is so challenging for us. Okay, let's go back to the sitter option. You know, we already know that having a sitter is expensive. So it's only a 2-hour date. We're not going to go anywhere. We're just going to go around the corner to this coffee shop. We're just going to have our little cup of coffee, and then we're going to come home because it's 2 hours. That's all I can afford, right? Or the kids, they have these bedtimes and these routines and these naps. And I mean, I'm going through this right now. Like our kids they have to be in bed by 7 o'clock, or else they turn into like these meltdown volcanic monsters. And it's like, they have this structure and they have this life, and you have to like mold everything to it. And not everybody gets that. And so it's like, you have to be pressured into this time constraint. And so therefore, because you feel like you have no time, now you cannot go on a date to freely enjoy it, right? Or what about, oh, so and so has ballet, so and so has practice, so and so has a recital, so and so has this going on and that going on, and oh, I'm so booked out. How many of you guys are looking at the clock and your calendar and your planners, and you guys are like, oh, this week is Halloween, so that means I'm not available until January 15th because holiday season, forget it. Forget it. It's not going to happen. Everything's already booked. Everything's already in stone. I cannot move things around. I'm sorry. It's just not the right time. How many of you guys are going through that? So I listed 3 really big struggles, 3 really big challenges when it comes to dating with kids. The first one was the money. The first one was not having a sitter, somebody to watch over your kids. The second thing was you feel guilty. You start guilt tripping yourself because you don't want to have a good time without your kids, right? And the third thing was the lack of time. You feel rushed. You feel pressured into just putting all of your time invested into your children. And so therefore you have no time left for yourself. If anybody feels these things, Molly said, time, who is she? She's a long lost cousin that you found on ancestry.com. That's who time is. Okay. So those are the challenges that some people are facing. If you guys are relating to any of this, go ahead and let me know. If you guys have any challenges yourself, now is the time to put them in the comments. Also, speaking of comments, if anybody has any random questions, okay, because I want to make sure that I address and I leave each of you guys with some kind of encouragement, inspiration, nugget, advice, tip. I want you to walk away gaining something more than what you had when you came into this live. So if you have any questions, be sure to drop them in the questions comment box here on Instagram, or if you guys are on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, go ahead and just type it in the comments and I will address every single one of your questions. But for right now, if there's any other challenges that you guys have faced when it comes to dating and kids, go ahead and type that into the comments. I'm going to get a small commercial break and take a sip of my hot chocolate because your girl's talking a lot. So hold on. I just want you guys to know that this live is brought to you by, because it's a commercial. Get it? This live is brought to you by the Mini Morning Show. Mini Morning Show is my 2.5-minute daily encouragement motivational piece where I just kind of speak off the top of my head, whatever comes to mind. You guys see the chaos that happens from having kids, right? But then you also see how every single day you can make steps and choices to trust God and to allow Him to come into your life, fill it up, and give you all the goodness that you need to set you on your way. That is what the mini morning show is. And I encourage you guys to watch it in my stories on Facebook and on Instagram. Okay, so the mini morning show. That was this commercial break. So before that, we talked about the 3 major challenges of what affects us when it comes to kids and dating, right? It doesn't matter if you guys are married. It doesn't matter if you guys are in a serious relationship. It doesn't matter if you guys are trying to get out there, right? I just want to go on one date. I don't really, it doesn't really matter if I know this person long term or not. I just want to go on a date. I just want to have fun, right? It doesn't matter what your relationship status is. If there is a kid involved, it automatically becomes challenging for these three reasons, right? Because of the money issue, because of the fun issue, the guilt trip issue, and because of the time issue. So what can you do? How can you make this work? What are some steps? What are some tools? Some tools, wink wink. What are some tools that you guys can use to help you overcome some of these issues and to help you get on a date right now? Maybe not today, not like 9:22 p.m., but what are some things that you could do to start getting on a date that will help fulfill you, that will help free you from this financial obligation, that will help you have fun and not feel guilty about it, that will help you do it in the time setting that you can only provide, right? Because we can't force time. We only have 24 hours of the day. And yes, with kids, unfortunately, our schedules do get really jam packed. But how can you be able to apply each of those things into a way where you can continue to date, have fun, grow, become a person outside of a parent, right? And still give yourself a little bit of a healthy sort of form of a love life, right? Because let's face it, dating helps your love life. It enhances it. It helps bring out what you like, what you dislike. It helps you evolve. It pulls you out of your comfort zone so that you know who you are in this current setting, in this season. It helps you get to know your partner a little bit better. It helps you reconnect and re-engage, which we're going to be talking a lot about these different things when we talk about dating when you're married and dating when you're a professional and, dating when you're in the church setting. We're going to talk about all of those things in future lives. But what can you do now in your current setting while you have these kids? This is where the book Christian Dating Adventures comes in. Okay, so I introduced this book to you earlier in the live, right? In our introduction. And if you're looking at this book for the very first time, then this is my newest book. It will be coming out next Tuesday. So 7 days from now, I will be wearing my little Mickey Mouse ears to celebrate. And we're going to have a whole nother live for that. But if you are interested in pre-ordering this book, you can go ahead for YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You can go ahead and click on that link right there. Or if you're on Instagram, you check the link in my bio, which, by the way, let me go ahead and choose a different picture here for you guys. There you go. Pre-order your copy today, link in the bio. And I want to bring this book up to you guys now because there are 65 unique, fun, creative ways for you to go on a date when it comes to enhancing your love life and getting closer to God inside this book. And I made sure that I kept the parent in mind. Why? Because I'm not about to write a book that I can apply in my own life. I am a mother of 3 small children who take up a lot of my time. They take up like 99% of my time. The reason why I didn't do a live last week was because of my kids. Okay. So I know what it's like when you're feeling like you can't do anything left. I know what it's like when you plan to do something and when you intend to do something and you want, like, every fiber in your being wants to do something. Like, you want to go on a date. You want to be that person to just enjoy a night to yourself. And you have to sacrifice it because of a child need, because someone is sick and somebody has a runny nose or somebody's just having a meltdown. Like, I understand that. Or the funds are not there, or your babysitter's unavailable. Like, oh, that's the worst when your babysitter's not available. So I understand what it's like to be a parent and to have to go through that. I know what it's like as a teenager having your parent go on dates, because my parents were divorced. And so my mother used to go on dates when I was a teenager, and I would give her the crappiest attitude for going on dates. So I know what it's like for teenagers to see their parents go on dates. Nobody likes it. I'm going to be petty when you come home. Like, just accept it. You know what I'm saying? So what can you do? How can you overcome all of these things, right? This is why I kept this in mind when I was writing this book, because in every single one of these chapters, okay, there is going to be a date that will cater to you, that will help you overcome each of these challenges. And for the rest of today's live, I want to go through this book and I want to show you how having kids will not be an issue when it comes to certain parts of this book. Okay. So I'm excited. If you guys have questions about the book as I'm going through it, go ahead and share them again in the comments or in the question box. If you guys are liking what I'm putting down, go ahead and give me the thumbs up and the hearts. Tell me what you like about this issue. And also, I'm going to give away a free I'm going to give away a discount offer for someone who is engaging in this live. So if I'm going to be asking questions, and whoever is the first person to engage with me, I'm going to give you guys a free discount code that you guys can use towards pre-ordering this book on my personal online shop. All right. So let's cover the first challenge. The first one is I don't have a sitter. I can't afford a sitter, right? I don't have a sitter. I can't afford a sitter. I believe in my last live, it was fact or myth, dating is expensive. I counted, and there was out of 65 dates, there was about 43 or 47 dates that were completely free, zero budget. Okay, completely free, zero budget. And that was me being very generous. So over 60% of this book out of 65 dates. Now consider you do one date a week, which is a lot. It is a lot to do one day a week, especially if you have kids. But let's just live in fantasy world for a second. And let's just say you do have the opportunity to go on one date a week. 60%, over 60% of those dates. So over half of your year, you can do it on a limited budget of $0 to $25. Okay. So that's pretty good, right? We don't have to worry about the date being expensive. So if all you have is money for a sitter, that works out because you can go on this very relatively inexpensive date and then you can use your funds that you do have for the sitter and it kind of works out, right? Number one, that's the first thing. Number two, in this book, there are 7 chapters. Okay. There is just the two of us, which are dates specifically for growing you and your date closer together. And chapter 2 is homegrown. Okay. Now, homegrown are dates specifically for the house setting. Okay. Whether you guys have kids and the only time you can get together is at nighttime when they're all asleep. Okay. Or maybe first thing in the morning, sunrise. Okay. When they're still asleep. Or maybe, something else happened in the world, just, off the top of my head, maybe, the whole world had to shut down for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it could happen, right? It could happen. Maybe you're not allowed to go places. Okay. There's a whole chapter dedicated to dates that you can do at home. Okay. And I kept this in mind for people who specifically had kids and other reasons. So I want to go ahead. Every single time I do a live, I do a little example of each of at least one date. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at one of these dates just so that you can understand that this is something that is not just, oh, I'm at home watching TV, I'm binge watching TV. Oh, that's boring. Like, that's cheap, but that's boring. I always do that. Like, that's always what my dates end up as. Like, this is not a book where there's 65 ideas of how to Netflix and chill. There's Netflix and grill, but that's a whole different story. Okay. These are a little bit more creative and they have a purpose because I believe if you're going to go on a date, it should be purposeful. You should learn something about yourself in it. You should learn something about your date in it. And if you're going to do this with Christ at the center, with God at the center, then you're going to go on a date with an intention that it's going to help bring you closer to your faith and this partner. Or at least it's going to help you understand that this partner and you are going in the same direction, that being God, right? And if not, then, at least it was a good date and you figured it out before it got any further. So anyways, let's go into chapter 2, homegrown, because I want to show you a different date to help you. Let's see. What's a good one? Molly says, amen. That's right, girl. Can I show these? I could show these. There we go. There we go. I didn't know I could show you. Okay. This one, for some reason, a lot of people always find it very interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and share this. Do we have any artists in the house? Any artists? Anybody who is creative, likes to do art? Raise your hand if you like to do art. Show me some hearts if you like to do art. If you're creative, let me know. Any painters in the house? Anybody who likes the adult coloring books? Anything like that? Let me know. This is a book. This is where am I at? This is a date that you can do at home. Okay. And it's called the Bob Ross Challenge. It's called the Bob Ross Challenge. Who here knows who Bob Ross is? Who knows who Bob Ross is? Let me know in the comments if you know who Bob Ross is. Let me know who Bob Ross is. The first person who tells me who Bob Ross is will get the discount for the day towards pre-ordering this book. So if you know who Bob Ross is, let me know in the comments. All right? Let me know. I'm going to sip on some coffee or on some hot chocolate while you guys tell me. I got no one. This is going to be interesting. Okay. I'm going to, going once, going twice. Oh, I got a chat. Who is it? A painter with big hair. Yes. Yes, Molly. A painter with big hair. I'm going to give you the discount for the day. Yay! You get the discount. So I will message you you're on Facebook, so I'll message you on Facebook and give you the link to get a discount towards pre-ordering this book on my online shop. And just so you guys know, there's two places that you can get this book. You can get it on Amazon, which, that's the prime delivery. You order it and in 2 hours it's at your doorstep, right? Or you can go to my online shop where I physically have them. You can see them right there. I've got a big pile of books over here, right? There we go. And I pray over them. I send you a prayer, personal prayer. I sign them, I deliver them. And those of you guys who are pre-ordering through my shop, you guys are getting something extra included in your little goodie swag box. All right. So you guys are getting some extra stuff there. So yes, you get the discount, plus you get all of that stuff. And congratulations. So Bob Ross Challenge, a painter with big hair. When I was younger, so my father, for those of you guys who do not know this, my father is a muralist. He is an artist. All my life, he was into theater. He creates these huge murals for the city of Cleveland, and he just does amazing work all throughout the city. And so naturally, when there is somebody on TV, I think it was PBS at the time, when there was somebody on TV who is demonstrating their art and their skill, naturally an artist is going to tune in. So at the age of like 5, 6, 7 years old, okay, I'm watching this guy with this huge afro, because it was like set in the late 70s, early 80s, this huge afro, and he has the most calming monotone voice. Like you could just easily just fall asleep to this dude's voice. And what he would do is he would go on TV and he would paint a picture, and he would do it in such a way that you would be able to paint with him. Okay. So that is the backstory of Bob Ross. And in this at-home date that you can do maybe when the kids are sleeping, because this is a very quiet date, right? He was very good. He is very, very good, but you can't buy any of his pictures because they're all locked up away. Anyways, totally different story, totally different conversation. So yeah, he's a very good artist. So the Bob Ross Challenge, this is something that you can do when you have kids, when the kids are asleep. Okay, let's just use this example. Kids are asleep. Doesn't matter who they are, how old they are, how many you have, kids are asleep. Okay, if you want to get a sitter, then you can get a sitter and then maybe take this idea and go to a quiet place like a coffee shop or something near that's closed in, not really loud, not a big loud setting. Maybe go to a park because that's free. You can do that setting as well. Okay, so here it is. Every single date that I have in this book comes with different parts of the date. So you have the scripture, you have the date description, you have the devotional piece of the date. Like, how does this date tie into that scripture? Because that's weird. Like, how is Bob Ross included in the Bible? I'm about to show you. You got some points on how this date is good for. So if you're trying to work on different parts of your relationship, if you're getting to know somebody, or if you're married and you really need to focus on specific parts of how to make your marriage better, this you got some tips on how this date is good for, what it's good for. You got some tips on how to create the date, what to keep in mind about the date, and then you have some level up in case this is like, oh, this is kind of a basic date. Like, I'm a really experienced painter. I don't think Bob Ross is going to challenge me. So what can I do to level it up, right? And then you have some talking points, because I believe that every conversation you have in a date should be intentional, should be purposeful, and should help you grow as an individual, as a couple, and as believers in God. All right, so let's go over this sample. I won't go over all of it, but I want to just share with you guys a little snippet of what these dates in this book look like and how they could apply to you even when you have kids. Okay, so the first thing, Exodus chapter 25, verse 9. You must build this tabernacle and its furnishings exactly according to the pattern I will show you. Okay, so this is God talking to the Israelites about building the tabernacle. This is Old Testament. This is New Living Translation, for those of you guys who are wondering. And now we get into the description of the date. The Joy of Painting is an early 80s TV show hosted by American artist Bob Ross, is enjoying a second life online. During his show, Ross created beautiful landscape paintings while giving a step-by-step tutorial with simple instructions. On this date, you will watch an episode together and reconstruct your own version of the painting using the careful, mellow teachings of Bob Ross. Okay, so you got two options. You can go on your laptop and find his old shows. You can use your smartphone and go outside of the house and find his shows, right? Either way, you guys are going to pick an episode and you guys are going to recreate this painting. Sounds simple, right? What is the word? So I'm not going to share this whole devotional with you because it's a little lengthy, but I will share a couple sentences with you just to show you how God can be inside any kind of date if you look for him and if you intentionally place God there in the center. So here we go. What is the word? From the Garden of Eden to the heavens themselves to the tabernacle where the Spirit of God dwelt, everything God has made was created with exceptional detail. You, your life, and this relationship are no different. Every detail that makes you you, from how you like your eggs to how you show up in this relationship, hello, is either designed or set in place for a reason or can be used in a unique way for God's perfect good. If you already understand this concept, you know the tiny details are what make this relationship and your connection so special. I'm not going to carry on. You guys can buy this book and finish that devotional, but that's how we tie the scripture into this date. Do you guys start to understand? Wow, paying attention to God's detail. Bob Ross, all these details in his painting. And now I'm going to apply some details to this date and this relationship. You see how this is all starting to come together once you start putting the center being God in focus and view. You see how you can easily recreate this even though you have kids, even though there was some issues about, time and about money and about like I feel guilty for having a good time. Like, you see how we could do this. Parents can do this date, right? What is this date good for? It's good for encouraging each other, because maybe there's somebody there that's like, I am not a painter. I'm terrible at painting. I can't do. This is a great day to encourage your date, your partner, your spouse, that first timer, right? Vulnerability, because you're about to put your talents on the canvas, right? So now you got to be vulnerable. So if you're having issues with putting walls up, if you have issues with letting your guard down, this is a great date to help you with that, right? Support, because you're going to encourage your partner, and unconditional love, because you got to love the details, right? Here are some tips. Again, I'm not going to go over all of these tips because there's a lot here. You guys can buy the book, but I just want to give you a little taste of it. So tip number 1, select an episode that you think you both will enjoy. You can find The Joy of Painting on YouTube, free, shout out, Hulu, if you got it, or Amazon Prime Video, okay? I'm showing you exactly where to do it. There's no excuse why you can't make this day come to pass, right? Tip number 2, you must obtain the right tools to create one of these paintings. As Bob Ross says in each video, there's more to it than just paintbrushes. You also need an easel and the right paints. You can shop at local craft stores, or better yet, purchase a Bob Ross painting kit online if you want to. If not, go to the craft store, buy what you can, right? Tip number 3, this challenge requires patience and attention to detail. Remember the detail from the scripture, right? Take it slow and listen carefully. You can always pause and rewind the show if you need something repeated. And then we have a few more tips down here. Level this up, because there's some people who think that they can just, I can pass this easy. All right, level up. Unless you want to end up with 2 of the same painting, select 2 different episodes to watch so that each of you can paint a different picture. And then you give the painting away to a friend or to a family member. So not only are you doing something fun for your date, but now you can make something for your babysitter. Hello, thank you for helping me. Or give it to somebody that you know, right? Then you got some talking points, because I believe this is the most important part. I will share 2 of the 4 talking points and hope that you guys get a feel for what I'm talking about, right? Talking point number 1, how does this painting challenge make you feel? How many times do we talk about what we feel and what we think in a date? How many times do we go there? How many times do we allow ourselves to go there? Do we open ourselves up and be vulnerable? Because remember, that's what this date is about. How many times do we just let that question roll off our tongue and actually sit and listen to the answer? Because I promise you, if you let that happen more often than not, you're going to start to see your relationship and the intentions of it, and where it's capable of going, or where it's capable of growing, what needs watering, or what needs to be pruned. Easy, easy. Okay. Question number 2, what details are most challenging to implement in your painting? What details are most challenging to implement in your painting? Okay, so we're talking about the painting, but this question could easily go into, okay, well, what about our marriage? Okay, well, what about this relationship? Okay, well, what about this first date? Okay, well, what about me? What about you? You see where this can all go? This can turn into a whole date where you can get deep, where you can get real, where you can get honest, where you can also have fun and laugh and be silly and enjoy yourselves, where you can talk about Bob Ross and his big fro, where you can make this something memorable while also not being mindful of, not having to worry about the kids, because this is a cheap and easy date that you're doing at home. Are there other days that you can do outside of the house? Absolutely. Are there other days that you can do that require a little bit more of a loud thing? Sure. If you're an adventure person, there's a chapter completely devoted for outdoors and adventure. Okay. If you want to include your kids, let me go ahead real quick and just let you know that what chapter is it? In chapter, I missed the contents. Hold on. In chapter 6, there is a chapter specifically called group dates. Okay? Group dates. And you better believe that in this chapter, I have a date where you have to have a date with your kids. You have to have a date with your kids. Why? Because kids are an important part of the relationship. Because if you have kids and kids are your whole world, then there's no way that this person that you're trying to get to know is going to ever become a part of that world unless they become a part of them kids. You hear what I'm saying? So yes, there is a date. If you are just, say you're not married, say you're a single parent, and you're like, how do I include the kids? When do I introduce him to the kids or her to the kids? Or how it's really, I don't know what to do. What do I do? This can help. This date can help, right? Why don't we go ahead and do that real quick, and then I will go ahead and address any questions. Let me find the date. Let's see. Group dates, chapter 6. Are you guys liking this idea so far? Meet the parents, amuse yourself, mystery dinner, kick it with the kids. Here we go. Kick it with the kids, because sometimes there is no sitter, and sometimes there might not be a budget, and so you have no choice but to be with the kids. But that doesn't mean that you do something adult-ish in your date while the kids are somewhere over there, right? Let's bring them in and let's make this a date that has them there, but at the same time, you're still growing in your relationship with the person you're actually on the date with. Okay? Let's talk about it. So, again, we're going to go back down the list. We're going to go down the line. So, the scripture for Kick It with the Kids is Psalm 127, verses 3 and 4. Children are a gift from the Lord, they are a reward from Him. Children born to a young man are like arrows in a warrior's hands. Okay? Again, that's New Living Translation. This date is only for couples who have blended families, or if you're married and you have kids of your own. If you're eager to experience the joys of being with children together, then check out the Babysitter's Club, which is another date in page 102. But blending families can be one of the most challenging things a new couple can go through. So this group date is designed to help them. Create a date that will entertain the children and allow you both to spend quality time with everyone. You could visit a local playground and follow that excursion with a picnic and lunch, or you can go see a movie together before going to a restaurant that the kids like. The goal is you're going to do something that can include the kid. You're not going to go to a bar, okay? You're not going to do that, right? You're not going to go somewhere quiet where kids can't run around. You're going to do something that is mindful of the kids. So you're like, Selena, you just said that I'm going to grow in this relationship. You just said that I'm going to be able to participate like an adult in this date, but I'm doing something for the kids. Here's where it gets tricky, and here's where this helps. So, we are going to, you're going to get the word, right? This is good for vulnerability because you got to get your kids out there. Commitment because can't get me unless you get my kids. And we're going to talk about boundaries because you can do this and this, but we can't go here with my kids, right? Or the kids need the boundary, as in, I have mommy time. I'm having an adult conversation. You guys go entertain, or you do this. Boundaries all over the place, right? Here's what I want you to know. Tips. Remember, this is still a date. Do not make this all about the kids. You have to engage together with everyone. Tip number 2, your kids and your date's kids might feel uncomfortable getting to know someone new if this is where you're at. Take your time, respect their needs, and do not rush this process. So I'm telling you how to go on a date with your kids. I'm not just giving you the idea and then you kind of fend for yourself. That's not what this book is about. This book is to hold your hand and to walk with you side by side so that you know what to do and what to expect. You're preparing yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially, physically, everything else to help create this date when it comes to kids. Tip number 3, you and your date might feel nervous about introducing your kids for the first time if they haven't met before. Be sure that you, your date, and your kids are ready to take this step. Do not rush it. If the season is not right, hold off until it is. So I'm coaching you through this book. I'm coaching you through this book through these dates. Okay? Tip number 4, older kids may need to be entertained differently than younger kids. As long as you're able to spend some devoted time with them and allow them to be themselves, you can still have a successful date and establish a real connection. Okay? And then you have the level up, and then you have, the different tips on here. The more tips, I'm not going to get into all of it. But here's a talking point. What was it like to have a date with the kids? Anyone can answer that. And if you guys are going to try to grow this relationship, then you're going to have to ask that question sooner or later. But why don't we do it with intention? Why don't we do it in a place that we're already in the setting? We were already taken out of our comfort zone. We were already exposed to what life would be like with kids, right? And each other. Let's bring up this. This is a perfect time to bring up this conversation, right? Because a lot of the times we don't know when to have these conversations. We're nervous because we're like, oh, what if they didn't like the kids, and what if it was too much, and what if it was too overwhelming, and it's like, this is crazy, but I can handle this crazy because it's my crazy. But like, what if they're not handling the crazy right? So you start to have all of these thoughts in your head about how can I balance kids and a love life at the same time. these talking points, these tips, this scripture, all of this stuff is meant for you to help you get through those difficult talking points and that difficult portion of your relationship or your dating life that you always fear might be there. Right? Number 2, what were your concerns about the kids meeting you or your date? So, you're asking your date, what were your concerns about meeting my kids? Flat out, what is it? Let's bring it out there into the open. What do you have concerns about? What were the concerns about you meeting my kids? Flat out, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it on this date. That's where you guys start to connect. That's where you guys start to, so while the kids are playing in the playground or while the kids are, at the arcade, you're having these conversations that's going to still bring you guys together as adults, that is still going to bring you guys closer in a relationship, or as at least it's going to help you understand where you stand moving forward now that kids are in the picture. You see what I'm saying? So this can help you debunk some of that, oh, I can't have fun with my kids, because your kids are having fun. Oh, I'm afraid of being myself, being an individual outside of being a parent. Well, now you are, because now you're having a grown up talk in the midst of this date, right? It's still a date because now we're having these deep conversations, right? So then I want to talk about, let's bring the faith part into it. How does having kids remind you that they are God's blessings, rewards, and arrows in the hands of a warrior? So now we went from talking about the kids, we went from talking about my concerns, we went from talking about your concerns. Let's talk about God. Let's talk about God. Let's talk about our faith. So based on having kids, how do these kids remind us that they're God's blessings? How do they remind us that there are rewards? How do they remind us that they're arrows in a warrior's hands? So now you're having a devotional talk. Now you're bringing God into the center. Okay, so now we just took this date and we made it not a kid's date, not a play date. This is not a play date, but this is a date that's going to strengthen you guys at the end, because now you're going to look at your kids in a particular way, the way that God wants you to see it. And now you're going to look at it together with this date, whether that's a first time dater, a person in a serious relationship, or your spouse. And you're going to look at these kids in the eyes that God wants you to look at them, and you're going to appreciate them. And now you know the concerns that each other has when it comes to dealing with the kids. So now moving forward, when you go on dates, you guys are going to know how to handle it. Number 1, you're going to know how to address it because you know the concerns that you each have. Number 2, you're going to know how to appreciate it because we looked at it through the lens of God. Number 3, and you're going to know how to have a good time that meets your challenging constraints, being time, finances, and having fun without them. Number 4, right? So this is how a book like Christian Dating Adventures could help you when you have kids. Because just because there are financial constraints does not mean that there are not creative and exciting dates that you can grow from on a very small budget. Just because you feel like, oh, I'm going to be guilty for having fun doesn't mean that the kids can't have fun at the same time, or doesn't mean that you can explore having that grown-up time through your conversations. Just because you feel like, oh, I don't have the time, or I'm going to feel rushed because of the sitter, or because my kids are so busy, doesn't mean that you can't create a time where everything is shared and you can still get the date across. Okay? That's why this is a tool that every parent should have, because just because you have kids does not mean that your love life is over. Just because you have kids that are in diapers does not mean that you guys should not be investing in yourselves and investing in your partner. Just because you guys have kids who are teenagers and they feel some kind of way about you dating again doesn't mean that you shouldn't try and you shouldn't be including them in some of that dating experience. Okay? That is why this is such a great book for you guys to have. And I want everybody to have this in their toolkit or in their tool belt if you're a Batman lover, and use this as a way to bring you closer together as partners, as dates, and closer together as believers of God. All right? So that is why dating when you have kids can be done It might take a little work. It might take a little effort. You might have to plan it a little more. And also, you might have to be willing to go there because not a lot of people are. Again, people might have some mindset shifts that they have to go through. People might have some fears or insecurity when it comes to their kids that they might have to work out. And we will be talking about that a little bit deeper in tomorrow's topic, which is dating when you have anxiety, because anxiety is real. And we're going to talk about that in greater depths tomorrow. So that might be something that you want to tune into tomorrow. All right. So once again, Christian Dating Adventures, a couple's guide, is available for pre-order now. It will be going live everywhere books are sold on Tuesday, November 2nd, 7 days away. You can go ahead right now and you can check out how to buy that. If you are watching from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you can check out this link, this bit.ly link, Christian Dating Adventures. Or if you are on Instagram, you can go to the link in my bio and you have two options to buy from there. You can go through Amazon and you can get the Kindle version, which is officially out now, or you can get the paperback version, which comes, if you have Amazon Prime, you might get it through there, or you can go through my personal online shop where I can give you a little bit more personal goodies for a thank you of supporting and pre-ordering the copy before it goes live November 2nd. All right, so that is what I have to say about today's live. In case you guys just hopped on at the very tail end of this video, let me go ahead and reintroduce myself. My name is Selina Almodovar. I am a Christian relationship author and coach, and I help Christian women take faith-filled steps towards trusting God fully so that they can transform their love life and create the relationships that they have been praying for. Okay, so right now, before I head out, I have a few minutes left before I head out. I want to just open up the floor for anyone who has any comments or questions that you guys would have. Let me know, and I will answer everything that you have. This is so neat. Thank you so much for tonight. You are so welcome, Molly. I hope that you loved this session. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. I'm going to be doing that session on dating when you have anxiety. All right, that's going to be a big one. I go through anxiety and I have a lot to say when it comes to dates. All right. So, anyone who has any questions, I'm going to sip on some hot chocolate. Again, this live was brought to you by the Mini Morning Show, which is my 2.5 free daily devotional, daily sense of encouragement, your daily joke of the day, if you want, depending on how chaotic my house is, that I do in my stories. So, Facebook stories and Instagram stories. You guys can see me just whatever's on the top of my head, I give it to you. And at the end of the day, it all comes to brightening your morning. So this date was brought to you by the Mini Morning Show. I just want to say thank you for everybody who came in a little late. I see you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for coming. All right. I'm not getting any questions here. Let me look over here. I got no questions over here. All right, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to get some rest here while my kids are sleeping. Okay. And I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Same time, same place. We're going to be talking about Christian. We're going to be talking about dating when you have anxiety. That is a big one. It is a big topic. Mental health is real. I want to cover it. I want to talk to you about it. And I don't want it to stop you from going on these dates. Okay. So I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Until next time. Bye.